They act like this because they're getting paid. Yay! The ultimate deodorant quickie.
Pose, 1, 2, 3, pose.
We got drinks because we're very tired. It's day 4 of AX. Oh my god, it's day 4 of AX. Welcome to Anime Expo, the largest anime convention in North America, which boasts over 900 artist alley vendors. This is just a small fraction of all the vendors available, and there are more all the way over there. So we're here on day -1, and because it's day -1, and this is a 4-day convention, this is going to be a 6-day convention vlog. Very excited about that. In this video, I'm going to be talking about everything new with Anime Expo's Artist Alley, and there are a lot of new things. How to stand out in Artist Alley as a vendor, especially when you're in a room with more than 900 other artists like me this weekend, and how you can vend in Anime Expo's Artist Alley. If you want to know everything that happens at one of my biggest events of the year, and my experience vending here for the 4th year in a row, keep on watching. If you're new here, hello, I'm Macy, and I'm the artist and designer behind Mualcaina, a small business focused on kawaii designs. I've been vending at conventions for about 4 years now and have done over 55 of them. Some of my largest conventions include Anime Expo, Otakon, and SAC Anime. If you're interested in Artist Alley and small business content, definitely consider subscribing. So you might be wondering, why am I building the display on the table when I usually don't do that? If you watch my Anime Riverside vlogs, you do know that I tend to build my display from the ground up and then I lift it onto the table. However, the only reason why I'm not doing that is because I'm currently setting up solo today and I don't want to have to worry about trying to find someone to help me carry everything, so we're doing it this way. We're here at Anime Expo and it is day 0. We just took our usual photos in front of the convention center. This is on Pico and Figueroa. Usually during day 0 of setup, I tend to work on the display and packing inventory. And in the meantime, since I do have friends who come with me, I usually have them do the more tedious task that doesn't really require much strategy or thinking. Some of them include writing table numbers on my business cards, grading ETA bags, dividing up stamp rally cards as well as stamp rally prizes, so then they're ready to go to the artists participating. And I usually reserve those tasks for day 0 setup, so then it's ready to go tomorrow. I usually set up this list a few days prior, if not weeks prior to AX, so then I don't really have to think about it the day before and I already know what needs to be done and I don't forget anything, because that is the worst thing, is when you are trying to think of a million things that you need to have done at Anime Expo, and if you are not sure of what those tasks are, you're going to forget some things, and you really do not want that to happen, especially for a con as busy as AX. One thing I like to do with my badge is put a sticker so that I know that it's mine, because I typically hold the badges for myself and my friends, so we know whose is whose and we don't have to deal with any sticky issues in case that we are not able to tap into Anime Expo. But then I also like to put keychains on there. Also, if you didn't know, you can find out when AX Chibi is, and Anime Expo Chibi is on November 8th to November 9th. And for the keychains, I have my Otani keychain from the Otani rally that I'm a part of. I also have the One Piece Shaker keychain as the prize for the One Piece rally that I'm in. Highly recommend decorating your badge. It can get heavy, but worth it.
2025!
Woo! They act like this because they're getting paid. Yay! Delicious! Post, setup, meal. Nice. Good morning, it is day 1 of Anime Expo. We are here in Kentia Hall. It is 7:46 in the morning. Interestingly enough, I have a few artist friends who are not able to enter Kentia Hall, mostly because apparently there's smoke outside. I don't know what is the cause for that, but it's more stemming towards the front of Exhibitor Hall is, so I believe they have evacuated some people, but hopefully that gets resolved soon, especially since we have about an hour 20 until doors open. And usually we are supposed to be show ready by an hour prior to con, because Fire Marshal does tend to want attendees to enter already, so then it doesn't impede the sidewalks outside and it's not a fire hazard. But in this case, I don't really know what's happening, but so far staff has not said anything. So we're just going on with business as usual. Hello, it is now 11:48, so a good few hours since con started. I'm trying to remember remember and compare as to how day one last year was compared to this year, but I don't really know. If anything, it's still a decent flow of sales. I will say the difference between this convention and a lot of the other cons that I've been to, usually for AX, it is a very catalog-heavy convention, so people already know what they want. They just want to go in and then out. Kentia Hall can get very crowded, and a lot of people don't want to spend most of their time in lines or in crowds. So they basically go through everywhere they needed to shop during day one, and then they're out. So not too bad. Good flow of sales. I did take my time to walk around West Hall / Entertainment Hall earlier, just because I was curious to see where everything has been moved. I know there was an issue with some exhibitors being moved to West Hall. Not entirely sure, but a few people who used to be in Kentia Hall, if you were here last year, you knew that the east side of Kentia Hall was filled with the 10x10 booths. But because they did put Artist Alley there, those remaining exhibitors who could not fit in South Hall, which is where the main exhibitor hall is, were moved to West Hall. So basically those exhibitors were all the way in the back of West Hall. Also, I am in 2 stamp rallies. As you know, I'm usually participating in just one rally. However, I was specifically going to stay with one piece rally as I usually do. But then I remembered I'm in Los Angeles. I have to do an Otani rally. So of course, these are perfect. I basically hosted both of them. The first one is the One Piece Gold Film Stamp Rally. I'm participating in it with Mimo Puffs, drawn by Ivy, Gary Draws, Christine, and Janini Draws. And we also got this shaker keychain. And I'm also in this Otani rally. This one's a little bit of a mini rally since there's 3 of us. And it's with myself, Mualcaina, Sticker Zoo Designs, Kumo Kuro, and a guest artist who is not vending at Anime Expo, Oddly Awkward, who contributed a vinyl sticker, and the prizes are adorable. You get this bundle of Otani keychains with your prize. I will say I feel like the Otani rally has been doing super well, mostly because we are in downtown LA. Dodger Stadium is a stone's throw away. I would say maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe with traffic. So you got a lot of Dodger fans here, but I am contemplating whether I should wear my Otani jersey tomorrow or if I just dress nice. We'll see.
Look how cute that is. That is so freaking cute. What the heck? Thank you so much for making them. Of course.
And then this is their socials.
Oh, thank you.
So it is currently 12:51, so not too far off from the previous clip. I didn't think I would ever say this for an Anime Expo stamp rally, to be honest, but we're basically sold out of all of our stamp rally prizes, which I am surprised by. And I'm trying to compare it to last year because last year we ordered about 75 prizes for each rally. We had a ton of extra, and I realized I don't want to have that many extras next time. So we basically lowered it to just ordering 30 prizes. And instead of ordering 1,000 stamp cards, we only ordered 500, which we allotted for each artist. And we're basically nearly sold out, which is kind of wild to me. I will say, though, it might be because of 2 things. One of them is due to the rules. So last year's stamp rally, you basically had to do a $12 minimum purchase, but it did have to include a one-piece product in your order. So of course, even though people might have wanted to participate in the one-piece rally, for example, if they didn't have a one-piece product in their order, they would not be able to participate in the rally. But in this case, maybe it's also due to the different prize design or maybe the theme. Last year it was an egghead one-piece prize shaker keychain. This year it is another one-piece shaker keychain, but it's a bit smaller, kind of subtle one-piece type of product. And I think we're down to maybe 5 or so. Actually need to hear back from a few other artists, but I know we're running very low. Same thing with the Otani rally. I think it's because there's not many other Dodgers themed rallies. Otani is really big this year, even last year, but more so this year after the World Series win. And especially since we are in the heart of Los Angeles, Dodgers is really big here. So not surprised that the Otani rally did really well. I just underestimated both rallies, to be honest. But if anything, to me, this is a success. Maybe if we had ordered more, let's say we ordered 50 prize packs, maybe we might not sell out, but really my goal this weekend was just to run out of prizes, so we did it. Visiting behind the table.
Yeah. Hello, hello.
Canes, 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 canes. Good morning. It is day 2 of Anime Expo, and we are here very, very early. It is 7:22. Looking at yesterday's numbers, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I actually didn't get a chance to compare it to last year. However, if I were to make about the same the next few days, like exactly the same, I would be pretty satisfied. It would be a bit lower than last year. I do remember that last year's numbers were only a couple hundred in difference, so it is lower than last year's numbers, which for a number of factors. Obviously, one of them is that there's a lot more artists, so a lot of the money is distributed amongst everyone rather than a smaller number. But I pretty much assumed that that would be the case with having lower numbers this year due to the increase in artist alley, as well as the current state of the economy. So honestly, very satisfied. If anything, we did profit within the first few hours of convention because my expenses are pretty low for this convention. Basically, with any of the SoCal events, my expenses are pretty low due to me, one, not having to pay for airfare. I pretty much commute via car, and my major expenses tend to be table, helpers, gas, food, parking. I'll talk about some of the numbers later on in the video. However, I know for a lot of people, Anime Expo is a convention worth traveling to, even if you're not from the United States. So of course their expenses will be more, but I'll discuss that a little bit later on. There were a few things that did surprise me. One of them is that the clear bags have been very popular. I anticipated that we would do well in selling the black Ita backpacks, the black classic Ita bags, and the plushie Ita bags, since that tend to go viral a few months ago when I showed how I would display my Labubu in the plushie Ita bags. We did do well on plushie Ita bags, however, the ones that sold the most were the pink and the green variants versus the black variant, and the clear Ita bags probably did really well because we did have the One Piece Dodgers collab yesterday, and I believe today is the Hololive Dodgers collab. So a lot of people are anticipating to bring clear bags for those games since it is a stadium approved bag, and a lot of the stadiums and venues for concerts and sports games tend to require that you have a clear bag when entering the venue. I was considering this, but I realized I should wear my Otani jersey because the last time I wore it was back in November for the Dodgers parade, and that was the only time I've ever worn it. And I'm like, if I spend $175 on an Otani jersey, I better wear it. So, and I figured I'd wear it to this event because one, the Otani rally, even though that one sold out, and it's just another excuse to wear it because otherwise I don't really go to many Dodgers games, unfortunately. Oh my gosh, who was this?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Jake's booth looks so good. Oh my gosh, he did such a great job with it. Hello, I'm very limited on hand, so I can't show you my phone, but it is currently 11 or so in the morning. I'm hanging out at Kelsey's booth, so I'm...
Hello.
I'm here as a helper just while Cody goes to take a quick break. But basically, we're just walking around exhibitors, saying hi to people, which was quite nice because I didn't really get a chance to see them yesterday. So far, it's been pretty busy, at least from what I've seen walking around. Hello, it is currently 12 o'clock. I don't think I ever introduced the fans. Oh wait, no, I did. Daikon. But this is a first introduction at Anime Expo. This fan is free with purchase with $40 or more. And I like to have a new fan every year. So this year it is this one. Super cute. It is a Polaroid of my characters and they look adorable. Honestly, exhibitors has been pretty cool, especially the Crunchyroll booth. Very cinematic, very cool. It's just unfortunate for a lot of the vendors surrounding Crunchyroll that it's pretty dark there. And so you don't have a lot of light at your booth unless you introduce some light. But so far, at least within Artist Alley, it's not too bad. Even going to the aisles where it is the additional 200 artists, it's been very busy. Every time I'm there, there's a bunch of people walking through. If anything, to a lot of people, it's just a continuation of Artist Alley, so what's the difference with that? Also, we got a ramen burger. Please don't ask me how much it was. It's kind of embarrassingly expensive. Also, I practically broke my case for the Pocket Osmo, which thank goodness I had this on, because otherwise, if I had dropped my Pocket Osmo, it would have broken and I would be heartbroken. But this saved my butt, especially if you have a Pocket Osmo, you know how sensitive it can be. So if you don't have a case on it, most likely it will break. So highly recommend investing in one. This wasn't even that expensive. I will say the one thing about inventory, especially if you are considering what type of products you want to sell as an artist alley vendor, as an exhibitor, as a small business owner in general, if you do want to vend in this type of environment, you do have to consider how big your products are. So for one thing, if I only sold pins, I could carry and stock more pins at my table if I have a 6-foot table. Versus myself, if I had bulky items like Ita bags, I can only fit about 3 to 4 Ita bags per 12 by 12 grid cube. Versus pins, if you had a heck of a lot of pins, you can fill that up with hundreds of pins. So do consider size when it comes to being able to store products. Obviously with prints, you can store a lot of prints within certain boxes. So that's why if you look at the back of a lot of artist alley tables, depending on what they're selling, you can see how organized or how they're able to keep stock at tables, because print artists are able to store a lot of prints within a small amount of space versus myself and even apparel vendors. You're basically filled with a bunch of sweaters throughout your grids. Assuming you're using grids, obviously it's different if you had a floating display and whatnot. We're gonna do a quick unboxing. Thank you to the lovely person who dropped this off. I appreciate you. I wanted to wait until I was able to vlog. Oh, that's so sweet. They gave snacks. Cute. How sweet. And then they also left a card. Oh, wait. They made a print. It's literally me right now. That's me right now. That's so cute. What the heck? Thank you so much. You didn't put your username. Good morning. It is day 3 of Anime Expo, and I am very, very sleepy right now because I've been up since 4 in the morning. Looking at yesterday's numbers, granted, I can only compare Thursday and Friday, and I can't exactly predict what Saturday and Sunday will be like, but assuming it's a typical pattern of Saturday being the most busy, because that's when most people are available and able to attend a convention, it seems to be in that pattern set. Because last year, if you watched my AX vlog, which I will have up here if you want to compare, each day was about the same, surprisingly, where there was only a couple hundreds of dollars in difference per day, versus this year there is a drastic difference from Thursday and Friday numbers, which I'm a little surprised by, because Thursday we did have the stamp rallies going on, so people tend to be more incentivized to purchase, versus Friday where we were basically sold out of prizes, and so we're not giving away any more cards. There was still a lot more sales during that day. However, I did get a hold of my numbers from last year per day, and this year's numbers are about 80% of last year, which still very good numbers. I'm not complaining at all. I would be very happy, because with the 200 plus artists coming in compared to last year, I did have to adjust my expectations going into this event, and I did set a different goal this year compared to last year, and we are on track to hit that goal. So very happy about it. Assuming that today is a bit more busy because, again, it's Saturday, we'll be all good here. Interestingly enough, I do forget that this being Anime Expo, for a lot of the attendees that I've noticed, this convention is one of the few anime conventions that they would ever attend throughout the whole year. If anything, this might be their first anime convention. And because of that, they don't really attend a lot of events or conventions related to anime. And so I've noticed that a lot of the products that have been getting sales are usually the ones that don't tend to be that popular at my other events. Because some of the phone grip designs that I've noticed were almost selling out that I haven't sold out in a very long time. So at least for this event, it's a little bit difficult to predict as to which products will sell. The reason why I'm glad that this AX is Thursday through Sunday is because, with the assumption that Saturday is the most busy, you do have 2 days to prepare and assess which products will sell best. So then based on Thursday and Friday, you can bring more of those popular items into Saturday and Sunday, where most people are probably going to attend AX. It's good to note that the attendees tend to be more new to anime conventions. Obviously, there are some people who are veterans in the anime convention space, but that is not the general majority when you are attracting this many attendees at a convention. If anything, usually most of the attendees are people who only know about Anime Expo and are not familiar with the other anime conventions in this area. Obviously, I usually have at least 1 or 2 anime conventions in the SoCal area, but for a majority of anime watchers, they are not familiar with those events. Hello, it is now 11:22. Per usual, there has been some sales, but it was a little bit slower compared to the first 2 days. But what I've noticed with a lot of the purchases is that, from memory, a good majority of them have been bags, followed by enamel pins and then stickers, which is a little bit surprising because from the past couple years, usually we need to restock pins on a more frequent basis, but in this case, we have only really had to restock Ita bags or our corduroy bags. My assumption is that this is a case because the past couple years, we usually don't have some of our Ita bags in stock. We used to sell out usually within the first couple hours, so then people just ended up buying enamel pins. But now, since most of them probably bought from me in the past, already got their enamel pins, and so now they're able to buy Ita bags and corduroy bags now. Also, the Otani sticker is a very popular one. We have had some customers only come by to buy the Otani stickers, since I did come out with a pitching Otani sticker. Going into this AX, this is going to be my fourth one. And out of all four, this is actually my most ready I've ever been for an AX. And the reason why that is because every year I usually receive my Ita bags from my Kickstarter around this time. Usually May, June, July. And every year, because I am prepping and processing Kickstarter orders, I'm doing that simultaneously with prepping for Anime Expo. And usually I'm peak stressed because I try to allot some of the Ita bags with my Kickstarter pledges. And obviously I want to be able to sell enough at Anime Expo, but also not oversell that I completely run out of Kickstarter bags. However, this year I actually pretty much completed all of the Kickstarter pledges 2 weeks prior to AX. So the 2 weeks following is just me prepping for this convention and just doing that. So this time we actually haven't sold out on Ita bags, which to me is a good thing. For a lot of people, to say that you sold out on an item is typically a good thing, right? And while surface level, at least for social proof, it looks really good, selling out is not necessarily a good thing, because that means that because once you sell out on an item, that's it. You can't sell anymore, and you basically lost out on potential profit because you didn't bring enough. So this time I maxed out on the number of Ita bags that I could bring. Actually didn't even have to grade bags in a frenzy overnight, which is what I used to do, basically stay up late grading bags. This time I'm just like, knockout, wake up, I'm at AX, bags have already been graded. This could also be a curse because I am local to the Los Angeles area. When you're local, you basically have an unlimited stock versus someone who flew in, because if you flew in and you ship product already, that's it. You are limited to that amount of product. Versus myself, I can go back and forth restocking. Like for myself at Otakon, I didn't have to stress out about restocking, because if I ran out, I ran out. I can't really do much about it. But in the case of Anime Expo, I could grade more bags. I could max out my car. Obviously, you may not have the luxury of doing that if you are not local to the area. If you flew in, traveled a long distance, you're just limited to the amount of product that you brought. Not complaining, it's a good problem to have. Let's go drop this off at Ivy's booth. If I can fit through. Excuse me. Yay! Literally so lucky because I ran out yesterday and I'm like, oh, I'll put stickers on later today. Didn't have time to put stickers.
Wonderful.
Amazing. We got drinks because we're very tired. So we got Vietnamese coffee with creme brulee. Delicious. Wow, she bought so many things. We got the blue clickly.
Add.
Anyway, it is 4:14. Today was solid. I actually haven't even had a chance to look at the numbers, but pretty busy. I don't think we really sold out on anything big. Just a few magnets, just a few stickers that I was planning to discontinue anyway. Walked around exhibitors, got some coffee because I was about to knock out. Said hi to a few friends. Honestly, I am just too tired to even film. Anna?
Talking right now. They're right here.
Okay. Anyway, someone's streaming in front of my booth, but I need to vlog right now because it's pretty late. Oh yeah, this is a type of convention where even though I do have a lot of artist friends, a lot of mutuals who are vending here, I usually don't even have a chance to say hi to them because every waking time when it's not even con hours, I'm just busy. I am either restocking or I'm filming videos and I'm out because I'm so tired. And I was even talking to Ivy about this because as much as I would love to go out for dinner, I know she wants to go out for dinner, but we're both tired. All of the friends are tired, and especially for those of us who do see each other pretty recently or pretty frequently. But yeah, this is a type of con where as much as I would love to catch up with friends, like I've met up with Hanju, Coco Soul, and as much as I would love to hang out with people, I'm too tired to even do so. This con, I love this con, but it drains me. It drains me a lot. But that's okay, because I will see these friends at another con sometime this year, hopefully. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, wow! Hello, hello. Yeah, they're kicking us all out.
Yeah. But not us. We're artists. We still have until 7 p.m.
We do? Acquired so many deodorant cookies.
Me three.
What?
Oh.
Lies.
The ultimate deodorant quickie. Wow, 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 wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, you got it. You got the headband. Yay. It's day 4. It's day 4 of AX. Oh my god, it's day 4 of AX.
We're not at our tables. You guys have someone at your tables for you?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, there's so many people. Yeah, people are trickling in now. But they're coming from one of the entrances over there. It's Kayla's birthday! Yay! Hello, yay! Okay, we should go to the front now. We're gonna take a photo in front of the AX sign.
Pose 1, 2, 3. Pose 1, 2, 3. Pose 1. Everyone's like
Amazing.
hitting each other.
Looking at the past couple days' numbers in comparison to last year's, surprisingly, yesterday's numbers were a little bit less than Friday. So right now, the ranking is that Friday is the most profitable, then Saturday, then Thursday, which is a bit different because I'm usually used to Saturday being the most busy. Just some information about this convention as an artist alley vendor. There's over 900 artists in this artist alley. Last year, there used to be about 700, but this year they did introduce about 200 more on the east side of the hall. So now the entire Kentia Hall is just artists, and then they do have the 18 plus booths. No proxies allowed, so the artist does need to be present when vending here. You can have 2 helpers, but only 2 people behind the table at all times, so obviously with 2 helpers and then yourself, that's 3 people total, but you can only have 2 people behind the table. For myself, it did cost about $862 with an additional badge plus card fees, and it is about $100 less without the 3rd badge, but again, I do need 2 additional Artist Alley badges because I do have 2 helpers. Parking is set by the convention center and not Anime Expo, so it's $27 during setup days and then $32 during event days, which is $2 more per day compared to last year, and the total for myself was $182 the entire weekend. These are my main expenses anyway, besides food and helper pay, since I am from Los Angeles. This year, Artist Alley apps are different, and I would say it's a mix of lottery and jury, and they did abolish the veteran system within Anime Expo, where if you were vending in the Artist Alley for over 10 years, I think it was about, you were basically grandfathered into the Artist Alley and are guaranteed a table, but starting this year, they got rid of that, and now it's all lottery. This con is very difficult to get into because of how sought after it is. I say it every time, take a shot of water every time I say this, but this is the largest anime convention in North America. With it being the largest, that means there are a lot of attendees. I don't know the exact numbers, but it is in the several hundreds of thousands of attendees. I don't know this year's numbers, but I can assume it's about the same every year, give or take. And because of that, of course, there is a high potential for sales. Wow. Ooh. We're meeting everyone. This is like a whole...
Dude, I know when I looked over.
Whole meeting. Gudetama. That is so freaking cute. Oh, everyone's here. Hello.
We saw other. So is Sunday just a day where no artists are at 13?
Yeah.
If you want Nanami to clip your hair, visit cocosol.com. I'm sorry. Cocosol.com.
Hello, it is a little bit later in the day. It is 11:04. Also, look at this clicky. This is one from Henry of Sticker Zoo. The bottom twists. But basically, mostly me, I've been walking around trying to say hi to people, but what's funny is that when I try to say hi to people, they're not at their booth. But neither am I, so I can't really complain. Overall, just very drained. And then I have to prep for the shop update. I am curious, have you been to Anime Expo? Do you plan on going to Anime Expo in the future? Or if you don't want to go to Anime Expo, why is that? Have you ever been to AX as an attendee? Have you ever vended at Anime Expo? Or were you just nosy and curious about what the AX experience is like? Please comment below, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you didn't already, I am also on Twitch, where I have been streaming almost weekly. I try to do weekly, but granted that was before Anime Expo, but now that I'm pretty much done with Anime Expo prep, I will do my best to stream once or twice weekly. I will have my link down below. Usually I do streams with other artist friends, or I'm co-working, or even just prepping pins. So if you're interested in that type of content, feel free to follow me on Twitch. I am probably streaming right now. Maybe. We'll see.
Beyonce and Autumn. Like, storm.
Storm. Hello, it is currently 1:48. My voice is cracking.
Hour until Anime Expo is over.
Actually, an hour and 10 minutes until con is over. Again, looking back on it now that there's not much time until the end of this convention, now would I do AX again if given the opportunity? 100% yes, no questions asked. Every year that I do somehow get in, I'm always honored to be a vendor here because this is one of my dream cons. I remember back in middle school, I've always wanted to go to AX but never had the opportunity to do so. But I know for myself and many other artists now that it is a lotto system, you never know if you'll get in, but hopefully we are able to come back next year. I also want to say to everyone who stopped by, supported, just said hi, came by with snacks, came by with goodies, thank you so much. I really do appreciate when you do stop by. I say that every vlog and every time. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it, especially when you do say that you are from social media, you watch the vlogs, you listen to the podcast. It's so interesting because this convention is one of the few where I see so many friends outside of the typical anime con scene. I've seen so many coworkers, past coworkers, friends from college, high school, so many, but always just thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate you. My next con is K-Play Bay Area, so that's not for another few weeks. I will be at table 138 towards the stage. It'll be my first time in that Anime Impulse Bay Area. Granted, this is K-Play and not Anime Impulse, though they are in the same building, but it'll be my first time in the Bay Area location, so very excited to experience that one. Of course, I will vlog it as well. Also, if you're curious on my more detailed review of this convention, besides what I post on social media or on YouTube, feel free to support me on Patreon, especially in the Biz Buddies tier, where I do post my reviews on conventions as well as other small business and artist alley tips. I will have it linked down below as well. I also want to say, in regards to temperature, because I know that's important for a lot of people is just me, it is somehow cold this weekend because the past couple anime expos, it has always been incredibly humid and warm, even all the way back here. However, it has been very cold, very chilly. The air conditioner has been on blast, which I fully appreciate. Thank you, LA Convention Center. Thank you, Anime Expo. And I love it. I actually have very rarely used my neck fan because of how cold it's been and breezy, so really appreciate that. But I will say for future AXs, just in case, I would highly recommend bringing a fan because it can get warm, especially when you are outside. I also recommend bringing some type of parasol or sun umbrella because if you are going outside, it is very warm. If you're going to be outside in the sun, it is probably best that you have some type of shade covering.
We are now
We're done.
2025.
Happy New Year.
Year starts with AX. Year ends when AX ends.
So now that you know how AX went this year, if you're curious and want to compare it to my experience from last year, watch this video to see my vlog from last year's Anime Expo, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Pose 1, 2, 3. Pose 1, 2, 3. Pose 1, 2, 3. Jump!